One and then grandmama's mama sent me the headline: Tyrese goes to jail, unpaid child support, $73,000. Now, I took my time with this because I wanted to do some research and actually look into the actual case. It's public information. You go on a website, you look at the documents, see what the case entails. This, in my opinion, is not a child support issue. It's a contract issue. I'm going to say that again. In my opinion, this is not a child support issue. It is a contract issue. Why do you say that, TJ? From what I read, and my understanding of it is, when they got married, before they got married, there was a prenup agreement. Now, prenup says in the event that we get divorced, here are the guidelines on how we're going to operate and separate and things of that nature. What I read, it says that in the event that they get a divorce, she didn't ask for spousal support. It goes on to what he's publicly said. She said, I'm not into that. I don't care about that. I don't want spousal support. I don't want your money. I don't want your stuff. I'm here for love. The prenup said she didn't want spousal support, but she could get child support. Now, there was a clause in there that said, in the event, well, let me take it back. There was also something in regards to spousal support. It said that she had the opportunity to challenge and say, I do want spousal support later on in the event that we get divorced, but it's a limited amount. Okay. From what I read, it seems as if now that the divorce is actually taking place, attorneys or whatever, I like to deal with facts. Just the facts are, she's now asking for more money past their limited amount of what spousal support would be in the state of Georgia. Now, there was a clause in that prenuptial agreement. I read that it said, in the event that we get divorced, and the divorce is not challenged, is not contested, meaning no spousal support is contested, we're going to split it up based on this. You get this, I get this, we split. It's not contested, easy peasy. Tyrese agreed to pay for all of the legal fees. Saying, hey, I'll take that if it's not contested. But in the event that the divorce is contested, and the only thing that could be contested is spousal support other than child support, because child support in the prenup, it said it's totally separate and it is outside and will be held in a whole nother court. In the event that it's not contested, I'll pay for all of the legal fees. What I read was, the divorce was filed by her in, I believe it was December 2020. The final order was put in place in August of 2022. And Tyrese notified her that it was going to be contested, that she was asking for more spousal support. He says, hey, we've been litigating all this time. If it's contested, our prenup says you pay for your own legal fees, I'll pay for my own. They go to arbitration. An arbitrator comes in so they don't have to go through the whole court thing to try to let's do this, break this down between you guys. The arbitrator comes in and looks at the prenup agreement and validates the prenup agreement and says that the prenup is valid. It holds up. The arbitrator looks at the clause where it says that she had the option to elect to demand more spousal support, but the arbitrator, from my reading, neglected to look at the other clause, which says in the event that is contested, we pay for our own legal fees. So this is where the headline comes in a few months ago or last year, or whenever it was, that Tyrese now owed, I believe it was like $500,000 or something crazy like that. And mind you, this was all in attorney fees. This not going to spousal support or child support. This was attorney fees. Attorney fees. Attorney fees. $500,000. Okay, so now this new judge comes in and they're looking at it. Tyrese, of course, attorneys appealed the arbitrator's findings and said, hey, it's erroneous. We have this clause here. You said that the prenup was valid. What about this clause? The new judge comes in and say, hey, well, based on the arbitrator's findings, he said that the case was not, the divorce was not contested. So therefore, we're granting all the legal fees. And not only that, you were the previous divorce, the child support in the state of Georgia, he was paying the highest amount that he was scheduled to pay according to what the state of Georgia worksheet says. Here are the calculations. It was like $2,200 some a month. He was paying that and been paying that based on what I read. So it's not like he wasn't paying his child support. He's paying according to what the state of Georgia says I'm supposed to pay and what we agreed to upon our divorce. The new judge comes in and says, well, based on the arbitrator findings, I'm now going to retroactively, which I just talked about last week or 2 weeks ago, where we went back and now they increased the monthly payments from $2,200 to $10,000 per month, solely based on the fact that he has another child which resides in the state of California, and that's what he was paying for his other child, which is a teenager, I believe. She's around that age. And now, mind you, the standard living of California and Georgia is completely different. From what I read, the judge made his findings to retroactively increase the child support from from 2K to 10K based on what he was paying for his other child in California. But that goes against what the Georgia state law says, what the calculation should be and what he should pay. Now, which brings us to where we are now. I want to say I salute Tyrese. And the reason why I say that, because when I looked at it, he could have paid the $73,000 and avoided jail time and then continue to contest this. But he said, no, it's not right. Like, I'm standing on what is right. You guys, which we all know this, the courts, the arbitrators, the fake judge, the real judge, they are all in cahoots. And he said, nah, I'm not rolling. What you guys are doing inside of this courtroom, I'm going to use my platform to shed light on this. Some people make jokes and that's that. But what he is now doing is commendable, because now we're having a conversation on, let's dive deeper into what the problem actually is, which ultimately, in my opinion, is going to help everyone that's watching this video, because if you're watching this video, that means you have some sort of child support issue, some sort of parental alienation issue, some sort of arrears issue, which this man is standing up and ultimately being the Colin Kaepernick for the family law issue with inside of these fake hearings. Now, I haven't even got into the whole point of it being a divorce and now you're a judicial process, private matter, to now we're bringing in this public child support enforcement, administrative. Now we're mixing public and private. Now we're talking about separation of power. I ain't even get into none of that. This is a contract issue. From what I read, his attorneys filed an appeal and put in an application just yesterday to stop all enforcement until the outcome of the appeal. We've seen it time and time again where, especially in the music industry, we have people who didn't read their contracts. Let's just take the big dog, Snoop D-O-double-G. We talking about Tyrese, let's talk about Snoop, Baby Boy. There was an issue with his contract. Suge Knight said, I'm paying Snoop according to what the contract says. Yes, your value has grown, but we didn't have a clause in the contract that say, in the event that you become the biggest star in the world, which he is, we can come back to the table and renegotiate. We can come back to the table and revise the actual current agreement. Same issue with Tyrese and his ex-wife. They had a prenup agreement. That's the whole purpose of creating a prenup, so we don't have to go through these issues. There was stipulations in there that they both agreed to, and the courts are not honoring it at all. So in my opinion, based on what I've seen that they've been going back and forth with this, my opinion is that it be taken to a higher court, which from what I've seen, what I read, it is, because there's an appeal, so it goes to appeal courts, and after appeals, should it not make it past appeals, then it goes to the federal level. But this is a contract issue, ladies and gentlemen, in my opinion. The man is currently paying his child support. He's paying what the state of Georgia says. Let's just talk about contempts before I conclude this. Let's talk about contempts. A contempt hearing it's her motion. It's her action. So she filed a contempt saying, hey, he hasn't paid X amount of dollars. We're bringing him here for contempt. In that contempt hearing, they're only looking at one or two things. Did you pay the money? And if you did not, was it willful? Was it willful? This is the thing. So we have to be mindful that of what the process is of going in these contempt hearings, because which brings my mind to the Department of Justice, where they sent a dear colleague letter to child support, the courts, and let them know, hey, even in the event that the non-payment was willful, there were other means to satisfy the state's interests besides license suspensions, incarcerations, and things of that nature. It's gonna be real interesting to see how this thing plays out. If we're going according to law and we're talking about the United States Constitution and due process, the prenuptial agreement should be honored. Because what we have is it is an arbitrator overstepping his boundaries and the courts enforcing it. I'm not going to say what I was going to say. But yeah, stay tuned. ChildSupportersFraud.com. But take care of them kids, though, man. This ain't no get out of jail free card. Subscribe to my YouTube, too. Child Supporters Fraud on YouTube. I'm out.